think you mean 3 seconds. I didn't know.
He'll tell you what.
Ow, that hurt.
Awesome.
Two, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS strategy show. Actually, it's the Live Before Lock show. It's from what I understand, this is the very first time there has been an NHL Live Before Lock show. Obviously, it runs concurrently with NBA. NBA almost always takes precedent. But we have a special slate today. We have 2 slates. One starts in about an hour's time and another starts in about 7 hours from now. We are going to cover both slates. Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully you got your fill of hors d'oeuvres last night, maybe a couple glasses of champagne. You're laying down on the couch, ready to watch a full day of hockey. We're here to help you guys break it down. We are presented by Yahoo Fantasy. They have been a very good sponsor to us all season long, and we're going to have a little giveaway through Yahoo Fantasy a little bit later. One other sponsor we'd love to have, White Claws. Today's show, or at least I am brought to you today by White Claws. Today we're going with, it looks like lemon, and I got a tangerine beside me. What do you got, Josh?
Let's see. I have my bang.
Of course.
Okay, so I haven't drank since I went to the live final in Nashville because I got absolutely just bombarded in Nashville. So I decided to take some time off. I went to my fridge. I have 4 options here. None of them are great. So we'll decide here. I have a blueberry and acai truly. I don't know who put that in there. Might have to get a divorce. I have a Coronaita. I have a Smirnoff Seltzer red, white, and berry.
That actually doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, and I have a Dogfish Head ale for our pal Corsi. I think this is an IPA. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we are going to make sure we're fully lubricated and hydrated for this entire show here today. We have some winners to talk about. A good night last night for some people. Our old friend Emac. You guys will see him sometimes on other shows, NFL, NBA, what have you. He took down the Dime Time last night. Attaboy, Emac. I saw Wolf Girl also finished in the top 5 just behind him as well. So they were dueling for top spot. Jib Sauce dropped a 12X screenshot in our chat this morning and said Ovechkin kind of screwed him at the end of the game. I think Ovechkin screwed a lot of people at the end of the game. I think he had like five DK points going into the final 4 minutes of the game and then scored 2 goals. So, that'll happen. But good night to Jib Sauce. And then I see 6-0 in the chat, in our YouTube chat, saying down he took down the 3K one-timer as well. So pretty good night all around, whether you were a subscriber or whether you're just figuring out some stuff on your own, because obviously we didn't have a show yesterday. So 6-0 EMAC, Jib Sauce, congrats on a good night last night. I didn't do well. Got back 2/3 of my entries. I was winning money until the final 4 minutes of that Washington game, and then Alex Ovechkin did what Alex Ovechkin does. So got back 2/3 of my entries, but decided 20 max. Got back 2/3. I'll take that. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. How'd you do, Josh?
I had Jack Hughes from the early game. That was nice.
I had so much Hughes and McDavid not winning money. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I had Hughes, and I had him paired with a Rangers Josh stack. So after watching that first period and my eyes started bleeding, I just logged off. And then when I saw Ovechkin scored, late, and then he had the empty net goal, I just didn't even log in until this morning.
Yeah, once Ovechkin starts to do his thing with the empty net, that's generally when you can kind of log off. I see Brandon McDonald gave us a super $40 super chat in our YouTube chat as well. Thank you very much, Brandon. That is very generous. He says, took down the college football showdown between Bama and Cincy. Thank you for all the hockey hard work, Josh, Jake, and Cliffy. Happy New Year, and smash the like button, everybody. Man, good guy Brandon McDonald coming with the super chat and recommending people throw up the likes. That's the exact type of subscriber and viewer that we love here. No, seriously, congrats, Brandon. College football, it doesn't matter. I'd like to think our hockey community is a tight-knit community, and it doesn't have to be hockey. We do celebrate wins all across the board. We should get to some games here, Josh, because we do have 9 games to talk about here today. Like I said, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, click that bell if you want to get notifications when we do go live. We do have free premium tools and data up on the site. We have NFL player projections up on the site. So if you're playing some NFL, check it out. But we do have 9 games, early 5-game slate, late 4-game slate. I'm going to get your thoughts on the late game slate and the Winter Classic game, because I think that really throws a wrench into things. But we do have to cover this early slate because warmups are going to start not too long from now. Buffalo, 3.1 implied goal total. They're going into Boston. The Bruins have a 3.5 implied goal total. There are going to be a lot of changes here. Jeff Skinner and Vinny Hinostroza taken out of COVID protocols for the Sabres, and they'll be back in. I'm assuming Jeff Skinner goes at least right to the second line in place of Rasmus Asplund. I don't know what they're going to do with Hinostroza, probably a depth role somewhere, so it's nothing too significant to consider. But I do think Jeff Skinner does go to the second line for Buffalo. It kind of makes them a little bit more potent offensively. On the Boston side, they mixed up their lines. David Pasternak got stuffed down to the second line with Taylor Hall and Eric Holla, while Craig Smith is on the top line with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. I have Craig Smith in my power plays write up today at Awesemo.com. It's free up on the site if you want to go check out some stuff for either the early slate or the late slate. My write up is up on Awesemo.com. So Craig Smith seems like a no-brainer, min-price top line. I think that's probably going to drive a lot of Boston ownership here. Josh, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, if he was on power play 1, it'd just be crazy, but he's power play 2, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, maybe it does matter because we talked about, I remember when Pasternak was out for a little bit there, we were talking about the Wowies with the top line. They're way worse without Pasternak, surprise, surprise. But this is a very good matchup. So yeah, I would imagine this early slate's absolutely crazy. Like, I'm pretty pissed at DK for the contest they put out. Like, this is a great slate. Great MME slate, and they're putting out $3K to first with the $8. Like, just put I don't want to get into it. I'll just get angry. But yeah. So Boston 1, Boston 2, definitely in play. Like, I don't know. Like, Eric Hall does too much for me. 3,400, not even on the power play, but like maybe. I know Jake's in the chat. I wonder how much Hall Pasternak 2-mans he has. He probably has at least 69% Taylor Hall on this slate. So we'll see what he says. But there isn't really a matchup that worries me per se. Like, I would imagine like Krebs, Olofsson, Skinner wouldn't be too bad defensively, but like, I don't know. They haven't played together. It's a low total on the road. So like, Boston top 6 definitely in play for me. You want to go to Boston 3? I don't know if you need to go that far. There's a third line that I really like, and it's not Boston 3. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Boston top 6 for sure. You want to have some Buffalo. Like, I'm going to avoid that top line just because they're going to get the Bergeron matchup. Maybe a little bit of, Krebs, Skinner, Olofsson, but like, I'm probably just going to be out on Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm out on Buffalo. I do like the top line, but they're up to 13,300, right? Like, that's not like an 8K line or whatever they were, a couple of games ago anymore. Like, that's a reasonable line. I think the Buffalo top line is fine to play. If I'm playing single entry in the early, so I definitely don't think I'm going to be playing Buffalo 1 in my single entry early slate. It's definitely a 20 max, 150 max type deal. I was looking at the ownership, and typically when Boston 1 has their complete complement on the top line, there's good leverage because they're so expensive. But with Craig Smith on that line, they're a little over 18,000, and they're coming in 25% ownership, 25% top 2 stacks, like pretty much bang on. So I don't know if there's a lot to be gained here by playing the top or the second line. So I think you're fine to just go with old Boston 1, like old Marchand, Bergeron, Pasternak. They're going to play, every second on the power play together. There's a good chance they just revert back to their old lines by the second period anyway. So like if you're really worried about high ownership on a 5-game slate where there's a couple really obvious spots, I think just going Old Boston 1 is just fine. Obviously, if you want to throw in like a McAvoy or something like that for power play correlation, that's all right as well. I think that's how I would handle Boston. I think just Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand, and then throwing in Smith is just fine as well, right? Because Smith, he gets an assist and a couple shots. He smashes his value. He doesn't need to score 2 goals or 3 goals like Pastrnak would, right? So I think you're fine to just play all 4 forwards in that case. On the blue line, I noticed Henry Yokohari is really starting to play a lot of minutes for Buffalo. The problem is that he's playing with Dahlin, and Dahlin kind of hogs the puck, right? So I don't know how valuable those 23 or 24 minutes might be. I just think he kind of stands out because he's cheap and is going to play those minutes. What do you think here, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, he's min price for a reason. You know what I mean? Like if he was doing stuff with those 23 minutes, he wouldn't be min price. So, maybe he starts doing stuff for those minutes. At min price, you can find out. You know what I mean? He's not going to kill you if he gets, 4.3 if you need a min price defenseman. On the Boston side, not much really outside of correlating McAvoy. You want to punt Carlo, that's fine, but that's really about it.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, let's get to this next game. And boy, oh boy, this one is a doozy. We have the Montreal Canadiens with a 2.2 implied goal total. I'm assuming that's probably come down since we made that graphic. They're going to
1.3.
Yeah, Florida has a 4.0 implied goal total. The reason I say it might have gone down is Brendan Gallagher. I mean, he was hurt, so that total would have been built into that. But now they're also missing Jake Evans, who's on the COVID list, and Alex Romanoff as well. So I think they're down to 3 actual NHLers in the entire lineup, 3 out of 20 players. So I think 2.2 might even be a little bit generous here. Sam Bennett back for Florida. I want to get your thoughts on what they're going to do with the lines, because when Sam Bennett was expected to play and was playing, Sam Reinhart was skating on the top line for Florida, and that's a double center line. And I'm not sure a lot of people are going to scramble to play a double center when we get lineups here in about 15 minutes. So I'll say right off the top, I think it's going to be a top line of Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, with Barkov and Reinhart on the top power play. And I like that line. And I think you can get them at reasonable ownership as a trio because we don't have that line confirmed right now. What do you think of this game, Josh?
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to get away from Florida here, I think. Like we talk about, like going down the lineup in high total, high ownership games, but I don't know if people are going to play a double center line, especially with Edmonton on the slate where they like to stack like McDavid, Draisaitl. So what do you do here?
I just don't think Barkov Reinhart is going to be a super Barkov Reinhart Verhaeghe, especially, is going to be a popular trio.
Yeah, I think you can full stack them and not even worry about it. You know what I mean? I think Florida 2, Bennett, Huberdeau, Duclair, if that's what it is, that's going to be popular too. I really like Florida 3 here.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. I mean, Frank Vetrano, min price, Anton Lundell, 4K, both on power play 2, going up against Cedric Paquette, Lucas Vejdemo, and Alex Belize. I'm a country, not a hockey player. Who are those guys? You know what I mean?
I know them because I'm a Habs fan, but I get your point.
Yeah. Jake had 80% Vejdemo when he scored the other night, and he still didn't cash. But I really like Florida 3 here. Lundell, legitimate player. Vetrano, Awesemo, favorite. 6,500 for the two of them. They're probably not going to get much ownership. They're going to get insanely good matchups. Samuel Montembeault is not great. If he starts, I don't even know who his backup is. So all 3 lines here for the Panthers are in play. I think Florida 1's my favorite just because of the 2 center, considering who's on the slate. I think if those 3, if you stack Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe as a 3-man, I think as the 3-man, they'll come in as the lowest 3-man combo of anyone in the top 6, I think. That's just an educated guess. But, if you want to go down to Florida 3, I think that's fine as well. On the Habs, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm just out on the Habs as well. I mean, we have people asking if you can play some Habs defensemen or something like that. I mean, David Savard obviously is going to get a ton of minutes, but he's not super cheap at 4K anymore. Like, I would just throw like Kale Clegg or Brett Kulak in there because, you know, they're almost min price. It's like somebody has to play the minutes. Like this, they have to play, you know, 3 20-minute periods here today. As some defenseman has to play those minutes. So I would probably just dump down to like a Kulak or a Clegg if it was on Montreal. Yeah, like I said with Florida, I'm all about, assuming it's Reinhart Barkov on the top line, I'm all about that double center. So that's where I'm going to go. On the blue line, we just mentioned Montreal. On the Florida side, our old buddy, good ass, still down at 2,500. Mackenzie Weegar, like, I get that 6,300 seems, I'm not playing Weegar. 6,300 is expensive. I think could be worth it. His peripherals are absurd of late. Like, he's shooting like a first, he's taking like 16 shot attempts per 60 minutes, which is a first line forward rate. Like, it's absolutely crazy how much he's shooting. It's just that part of his a decent chunk of his value comes from blocking shots, and I really don't see how he gets to the block bonus tonight. So I think it's good ass for me. Who do you think?
I saw my fiance in chat earlier, so for her, I gotta say we love a good ass here at awesemo.com. I'm talking about yours. Yeah, Uyghur. He's actually projected for more points than Ekblad, which is pretty funny. But I'm fine with Forsling as well. Brandon Montour with Florida 3, but I think it's going to be good ass or Forsling for me if I can't get up to Ekblad or Uyghur.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see someone in chat ask, is there a chance the game gets canceled last minute? We thought so, but there's been a lot of quotes from like the NHL or from the Habs coach saying the NHL told them you're playing, like you're just playing. So, I mean, anything can happen. We've seen that a lot over the last month, but every indication we have right now, including as of like 10 minutes ago, is that game is going to play as expected. This next game also going to play. Carolina 3.4 implied goal total. They're going into Columbus. The Jackets have a 2.6 implied goal total. I think the big news here is Columbus is starting Danil Tarasov in net, not Elvis Merzlikins. And while that frustrates me a lot because Merzlikins was my favorite goalie on the early slate, Tarasov is 6,500 on DraftKings, and that honestly changes a lot here. So what do you think, Josh?
Josh stack against Tarasov, go like full seal.
I don't hate that, honestly. I really don't. I wouldn't do it in a single entry, but if I was 20 maxing, I would.
Yeah, I mean, there may be a scenario where like Tarasov gets the save bonus, loses, and Carolina is optimal. It's Saturday morning. It's New Year's Day, man. We're getting wild here. No, listen, I really like Carolina. I really also like Merzlikins until, you know, Tarasov, like that. Admin price, you have to consider him. Like, it's just one of those things. 6,500 with the amount of firepower on the slate, you have to consider him. Like, if he gets the save bonus and gives up 4 goals, I think he'd still be fine. Again, with Carolina, it's a matter of personal preference here. With Jesper Fast moving up to that second line, I think I would prefer that top line just for more power play correlation. And they're probably going to get the line A matchup, and we like attacking the line A matchup just because he doesn't play defense. Nicely. So yeah, Niederreiter, Aho, Teravainen. If you want, like, the thing is, like, I saw someone asked me earlier about a power play stack. The thing with Columbus is, like, don't take many penalties, which is kind of surprising for them. So, like, I don't think you need a power play stack. I think you can just full stack lines here. Teravainen, Aho, Niederreiter is probably my favorite. I like the Trocheck, Svechnikov 2-man, but I also like that third line of Kotkaniemi, Stahl, Netchus. I think that's fine as well. But Carolina 1 is my favorite line on Carolina, probably in this game. On the Columbus side, you want to go to that top line. It's fully correlated. They're at home. I guess that's fine. 2.6 total at home. It's like, it's not great. In 1 to 3, I'm definitely not getting there in MMA. I think you can have some just because they're super cheap. They're fully correlated. Carolina takes a lot of penalties. Their penalty kill is what it is. I mean, but they're still in the top 5, I think, in penalties taken per game. So I think you can definitely get to that top line in MMA. Also, like Roslovic, Domi, 2-man. You want to add in Bemstrom, I think that's fine. But, Roslovic, Domi, 5,400 for the 2 of them. Let you get in some big boys, and they won't kill you. They've been playing pretty well together. So a lot to like in this game. I think you can honestly, like I hate like recommending this, but I honestly think you can stack against your goalie a little bit in MMA.
I think that's possible here, especially I should say, especially because Tarasov's 6,500, right? If he was a 7,800 goalie, we're not having this conversation. But I agree with you. A 6,500 goalie, you can do like a Carolina 3 plus your goalie, plus that goalie or something like that, or a Stahl Natchez plus Tarasov. That's fine. I'm not doing it, but I can see where you're coming from. I agree with you. Carolina 1 is the line that I like here. Just because I'm not convinced that they won't switch around the other lines if this isn't a 2 or 3-0 game early for Carolina, right? Like, I have no idea why Seth Jarvis got stuffed down on the fourth line. Like, I thought he was their best player I know they're playing Montreal at home and Montreal had all their injuries and all that. I thought he was still their best player, and then he gets stuffed down to the fourth line. I don't get it. So clearly they want to change around their lines a little bit. So I'd rely on the top line. I would just full stack the 3 of them. Like you said, Columbus doesn't take a ton of penalties. So I think just full stacking the three of them is fine. I agree on the Domi Roslovic too, man. We talked about them on the last show. A high pace line, not great defensively, but they do generate a fair bit offensively, and they are cheap. And like you said, Carolina takes a ton of penalties. So a Bachfist, Domi, Roslovic is a very cheap 3-man that should get a fair amount of power play time here tonight. So if you're looking for a cheap filler to go with, super chalk stacks elsewhere, I think that's definitely possible. But for me, it's all about Carolina 1. On the blue line, I think Gavrikov definitely makes a ton of sense for min price. He should see a block bonus here on DraftKings. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, Gavrikov, Bachwist, Jake Bean. Excuse me. Werenski's down under 6K. I mean, his peripherals haven't been great recently, but under 6K, I think you can. Carolina side, Jacob Slavin has been playing like out of his mind, and he's 5K. I think that's fine. Brady Shea, not a bad punt, but I'm more or less gonna punt from the Columbus side from this game.
Just seeing Buffalo Sabres have assigned JJ Peterka to the AHL, so he won't be playing in this afternoon game. They hadn't used Jeff Skinner. They hadn't used Jeff Skinner and Tage Thompson a lot. They were using Skinner on the Cousins line. So I don't know what they're going to do here. I guess it's probably going to be Skinner to the top line, but we'll see. Warm-ups are going to start here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll give you – go ahead.
They could move Olsen up too. They're both left wingers. So
yeah, we'll know here in 10 minutes or so, but just be aware the Buffalo lineup is going to change here very shortly. Bringing the new year with 2 incredible offers on Awesemo Plus Platinum. For only $20, you can get full access to all our Awesemo Plus tools and data for 22 days using the promo code 2022. That's the number 2022. If you're looking to take down slates all year long, use the promo code HAPPY22, capital H, capital A, capital PPY, the number 22 for 20% off of a year of Awesemo Plus Platinum. These 2 great deals for access for everything you need, including player projections, ownership projections, our lineup builder, our Discord, boom busts, top stacks, ownership, what have you. All this available with those 2 offers. They end January 7th at 11:59 Central Time, so get them locked in before it's too late. That's promo code 2022 for 22 days for $20, or Happy 22 for a full year of Awesemo Plus Platinum for 20% off. Follow the links in the description below to activate. Again, these are only going to be good for the next 6 days. So get those in if you want to get a cheaper, much cheaper subscription to Awesemo Plus here. All right, 2 more games on the early slate to deal with. The first one, the Edmonton Oilers have a 3.0 implied goal total. They're going in to face the Islanders, who also have a 3.0 implied goal total. With all the Islanders injuries, I had assumed that the top line would they like to spread out their ice time, but I just assumed their top line would get like 20-21 minutes. No, they played 16 minutes in their last game despite missing like 5 regulars. I mean, they won, but Edmonton's in town tonight. I don't know if they can get away with that again. Edmonton just played yesterday afternoon, so maybe they're a little bit tired. What do you think here, Josh?
couple players back for Islanders, right? Beauvillier and Wahlstrom, or am I making that up?
Wahlstrom, I believe. Beauvillier, I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. So, like, we always talk about it's okay to stack against like going against McDavid because he's high event, but like with Hyman and Puljujarvi there, like I really don't want to do it. I know they're back to back on the road. Like that's a pretty decent defensive iteration of that line with McDavid. Kind of takes me out.
Beauvillier is out. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Beauvillier's out or
out of protocols.
Out of protocols. Okay. So
back,
yeah. So like I kind of don't want to stack Barzal, Lee, Bailey if that's going to be the matchup. Where I want to go is that second line, getting the Draisaitl matchup. If it's JG Pajot, Bellows, Wahlstrom, something like that, it could be Beauvillier instead of Wahlstrom. But like JG Pajot, Bellows, currently power play 1, it might change with those guys back. They're cheap. If Wahlstrom's there, he's 3,400 as well. Like that's a really cheap line going up against a bad defensive line. So I don't mind that. I also, we'll see where they slot in. It's a 2 p.m. start, so we obviously won't get lines while we're on the air. But if it's an iteration, something like Bellows, JG Pajot, Wahlstrom, or JG Pajot, Bellows, Beauvillier, that is going to pique my interest going against that Draisaitl line. On the Edmonton side, like I think, it's going to be how I always do it. You either go Edmonton 1 or Edmonton power play. I just have a hard time going to Edmonton 2 and not using McDavid. It just feels awful. Like I don't even like, maybe it's gotten there before, but like I just don't want to take the chance of playing Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins without McDavid. It's just a mental thing. Like maybe it works, but I don't want to in 1 to 3 find out. You know what I mean? I'd rather just play McDavid with them. So Edmonton 1 or Edmonton power play. Islanders 2, depending on who's there.
Yeah, I generally don't have a ton of interest in this game. But the thing that kind of caught my eye is how overowned the Islanders are.
Yeah.
The top line coming in at 20%, like that's the third highest owned line on the slate, higher than Nashville. Like I get the price difference. I would still way rather play Nashville 1 for 20% more than the Islanders top line here tonight. You know what I mean? The Florida top line is probably going to come in at roughly the same price. I'd rather play the Florida top line as well. Like even at the ownership rates, I don't really see the upside. I mean, there is upside to playing the Islanders top line here tonight, but I think they're just going to be too high owned for me to really consider them. Like, I don't think the Islanders are a great DFS team at the best of times, and these aren't the best of times, even if they are playing a slightly tired Edmonton team. I think for me, it'd just be some one-offs from the Islanders. On the Edmonton side, I really do like the top line. I agree with you that it's top line or PP. For me in this game, it's the top line because they're going to send out the Cizikas and Clutterbuck and those guys against them. And Cizikas and Clutterbuck cannot keep up with McDavid and Puljujarvi. I'm sorry. So if they can get in a couple goals, that'd be nice. So Edmonton 1 full stack for me, probably just some one-offs from the Islanders. That's about it. On the blue line, Noah Dobson is in my power plays right up. He's averaging over 2 shots and over 2 blocks per game. That makes him a combo meal threat. I know he's like 5,300 or something like that. It's a bit expensive, but I think it's just fine. So Noah Dobson, I think Darnell Nurse definitely play as well for Edmonton. What do you think?
Yeah, Nurse or Dobson. That's really about it. Like it's hard to really I know Duncan Keith had a good game last game, but now Nurse is back. So Keith and CC are not going to be the top pair, which is a ridiculous thing to say. So it's really just Nurse or Dobson for me.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, let's get to this last game. Last game from the early slate. Chicago, 2.4 implied goal total. Going into Nashville, the Preds have a 3.2 implied goal total. Big news just dropped. Roman Josi back for the Preds. I know Jake is just absolutely smashing Fireball behind the scenes. He's so happy. He's been really down in the dumps of late because Roman Josi hasn't been playing. But, man, his favorite person in the world is now back in the lineup. So, Jake, I'm so happy for you. 2022 could not have started any better for our boss, Jake Harry. 3.2 for Nashville, 2.4 for Chicago. Henrik Borgstrom is centering the top line with Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane. What do you think of this game, Josh?
I mean, on paper, I really like Borgstrom in between Kane and DeBrincat. I think he's probably the best DFS center for them.
I want to say that I think Borgstrom is the best dual threat, like shooting and passing type center that they have. Like he can do more than just pass, which is something they don't really have in spades.
Damn it, Niehaus, spending $5 to tout Dante Fabro. What a legend.
It's 2022, just like 2021, baby. Let's go.
What a legend Niehaus is, man. $4.99 to talk about Dante Fabro. Yeah, you can play him, Niehaus. Play him. How much is he? He's $3K. Play him. Play him. Anyway, yeah, I like DeBrincat, Borgstrom, Kane. I just don't like them today.
Yeah,
I think I'll save it for another time just because there's, Kane DeBrincat combo is almost 14K. There's just like so many other expensive players that I'd rather play today, including Nashville one. We're going to go back to the well. Chicago, bad defensive team, takes a lot of penalties, penalty kill, not great, been getting bailed out by the goalie. Colin Delia in net. Nashville one, Yossi, I know the Yossi news just dropped, but I don't know how much he is. I would imagine he's expensive. He may go overlooked a little bit here, so I think you can put him in. 7,300.
His price hasn't come down, but nobody's going to be playing him.
Yeah, except for Jake. If he's 2%, Jake will have
Jake's 7%. Running crunches right now. He's taking 150 lineups out and he's putting 150 Yosis.
Yeah, Jake just hit the thumbs up button 8 times, hit the lock button, lit some candles, turned the pictures around.
He has Yossi projected for 51 points tonight.
Yeah. He's just cranking up the manual projection. Jake's having a great time right now. But yeah, Nashville one for me. Yossi, Fabro for Niehaus. Honestly, I want to play Chicago one. I guess you can in MME, but I really would prefer to save that for a little bit better matchup. So really just Nashville one for me from this game.
Yeah, I love Nashville. I'll say I like both top lines. I think I'm going to be playing Nashville one in my one lineup. I'm only going single entry because I'm on my way out the door.
I think I am too.
Yeah, so Nashville one probably for me. I do like Chicago one here. If I was playing 20 max today, I would probably have 10% Chicago one or something like that. I do think Borgstrom, Kane, and DeBrincat, I think it's the best possible line they can put together right now offensively. So if you're not going to play him on the road on a 5-game slate, there aren't going to be a ton of times when you are going to play them. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I feel about it. So, and especially where Nashville's penalty kill is just dog water, right? Bad. And they take a lot of penalties, and at least DeBrincat and Kane will get top power play minutes. So I think in my 20 max, I would have a little bit of Chicago, but I do love Nashville one. They've been rolling 60% shot share, 60% expected goal share. They're just crushing. So yeah, Nashville one, Chicago one on the blue line with Yossi back. I love Yossi. He's now my favorite defenseman on the slate, specifically because nobody's going to be playing him. I might just go jigger around my lineups here shortly.
I'm doing that right now.
To try to get him in a lineup. I was trying to finish what I was saying to throw it to you so that I could do the same thing. So yeah, I will say I do love Yossi a lot in this game. Connor Murphy on the other side for Chicago, always a threat for blocks, and he's down a little bit, 3,700, 3,100 for DeHaan. Anybody else stick out to you for defenseman here?
Really? I mean, honestly, if you want to punt Fabro, that's honestly fine. Carrier, now that he's probably not going to get power play, he would probably get power play too. Ekholm probably comes off the power play altogether.
Yeah.
Carrier's fine, Fabro, but really it's Yossi for me.
All right. One quick note about the early slate. Lineups are dropping right now. Florida not going with the double center top line. They're going with Verhaeghe, Barkov, Max Mammon. Just so frustrating to see Max Mammon on the top line for the Florida Panthers. Come on. It's like Joel Kenville never got fired. Anyways, and then the second line, Huberdeau, Bennett, Duclair, third line of Vetrano, Reinhart, Tippett. Vetrano, Reinhart, Tippett might be my favorite line, honestly, out of the three.
Where'd Lundell go?
He's on the fourth line now.
What?
Yeah, so Vetrano, Reinhart, Tippett, third line. I don't know, might be my favorite third line on that slate. Just beware that those Florida lines changed quite a bit. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Just click the link below to redeem. And if you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also receive a free $10 of credit plus an additional $25 when you make your first deposit using the promo code Yahoo 10. That's Yahoo, all capital letters with the number 10. Tomorrow on Yahoo is featuring their $1 million baller contest with $100,000 to first place. So make sure you enter that huge contest and use our DFS tools and projections to help you win big. All right, let's jump to this late slate real quick. We have the Ottawa Senators going into Toronto. Toronto Maple Leafs have a 3.8 implied goal total. Ottawa, has a 2.3 implied goal total. The big news, a couple big pieces of news. Josh Norris in the COVID protocols for Ottawa. So he's off the top line, obviously. Tim Stützle, up on the top line for Ottawa. I kind of like that. It is a tough matchup. Toronto on the other side getting Mitch Marner back. So Marner, Bunting, Matthews top line. Tavares, Kerfoot, Nylander down on the second line. Obviously, going to be a lot of ownership. I think our late ownership has Austin Matthews at 30%, and I think that might be a little bit low, honestly. So what do you like here, Josh?
I see our boy Bitch Marner's back, huh?
Oh yeah, he's back and he's got a vengeance.
I saw Jake in the chat say if we get 5,000 likes, I'll get a Formenton tattoo. Why don't we make it 500 and I'll get his jersey tattooed on my quad? So we'll see if we can do it. I'm not holding my breath because last time I did this, you guys let me down hard, but we'll see. Whoo, doggy, this game is spicy. 3.8 total for the Leafs. Like, you want to go to that top line? I think that's fine. 30% Matthews is a little high for me. It is a 4-game slate. I think I want to go to Tavares Nylander here. Nylander was asymptomatic. He said all he did was play video games. He's our king. He's the best Leaf. Like, he's the best Leafs winger. It's not even close.
He might be the best Leaf too.
Yeah. I mean, until Matthews, someone has that conversation, his hairline conversation with Austin Matthews, it's Willie Nylander.
Yeah, absolutely best here by far. Yeah, that makes him the best player.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really do like Toronto 2 here. They're coming in way less owned than Toronto 1. It's just as good of, if not better, matchup. So, yeah, I prefer Toronto 2. I also like Ottawa 1 here a little bit. Norris to Stützle, is it a huge drop off? Is it? I'm not sure. But they are fully correlated. Brady Tkachuk's price is crazy high, but that's fine. If you want to go to a little outs Formenton one off here, also fine. But honestly, like for me, this is Toronto 2, and in some MME, some Ottawa 1.
I'm going to go in the other direction. For me, I think this is a Toronto 1 game. I wrote them up for the Power Plays article. Again, it's up on Awesemo.com. The reason being 80 shot attempts per 60 minutes and like 50 scoring chances per 60 minutes of 5-on-5 when they've been together this year. Just like absolutely absurd numbers. And it's a tougher matchup going into Ottawa 1. I think Tim Stützle is a better defensive center than people give him credit for, but the rest of the Senators' defense or whatever, the goaltending doesn't worry me at all. So I think I do like Toronto 1 a lot here tonight. Toronto 2 is fine. I mean, both top lines are very much in play here. Just for me, preferentially, I do have Toronto 1 ahead here. Ottawa 1, I think, is interesting. Like Ottawa, I don't care what anyone says. Ottawa plays Toronto tougher than almost any other team I've seen. Like, go back and look. Like, I know Toronto scores a ton of goals on them, but Ottawa scores a fair amount of goals in return. I do kind of like that Ottawa top line. In my 20 max, that'd be another one of those lines where I'd have like 10% or something like that. I think they're just fine to use here on this slate. Just looking at our top stacks tool for the late slate, we have them as 13% as a top 2 stack and only 6% ownership. One of the better leverage spots on our late slate that we have. So Ottawa 1 in my 20 max, 150 max and all that. Make sure you get your 10%. Do like Toronto 1 the best out of this game. On the blue line, Riley and Muzzin back. So, I mean, it takes all those super cheap Toronto defensemen out of play that we had been using. I wrote up your boy, the Zoob, again, because I imagine he sees some block shots here tonight with Zaitsev out. What do you think?
Yeah, my boy Zoob, always in play. Also, just loaded in Toronto power play into the lineup builder. Not possible to power play stack the Leafs tonight. Also, like, I was like, maybe we could play Toronto 3. Andre Kasha, 5,400, just out of left field, like tripling in price. Quite a scene there. But yeah, I do like Morgan Riley. That sounds weird still coming out of my mouth, but I do. And then, Chabot also in play for me. But if you need a punt, Artem Zub is the guy.
All right. I do like the Zub here today. Glad to see that we agree on that. Always glad to see when we agree on the Zub. Next game, St. Louis 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Minnesota. The Wild have a 3.1 implied goal total. Joel Eriksson Ek and Jared Spurgeon both out for Minnesota. Those are fairly significant losses because to me, those are their number one center and number one defenseman. And I know Minnesota's a good team. And not a lot of teams can lose their top center and top defenseman and be just fine. I think that's kind of why you're seeing the St. Louis total float around 3, even though they're on the road. This is the outdoor game, though. This is the Winter Classic game. I think they're saying it could be as cold as -14 Fahrenheit, which is about -27 Celsius.
Yeah.
If that's about right. That is freaking, that is freaking cold. And there's no precedent for Winter Classic games that cold, at least not in the last 15 years. So I don't know how do you feel about this game in general, Josh? Like, are you just treating it like it's another game or are you avoiding it? Like, what are you doing here?
I don't know, because most outdoor games we have to worry about like the sun melting the ice. But if it's going to be that cold, I'm not sure there's going to be ice issues. So like,
well, there could, the thing with the ice is they said they're heating it because they don't want the ice to get too hard because then players' skates can't dig in and the puck keeps bouncing and stuff like that. So they're trying to soften the ice by heating it up. That's kind of the situation we're in right now.
What's this, Rookie of the Year? Hot ice. The ice
cube. Just a big chew in the side of your mouth. Hot ice. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing.
Damn it. Like outdoor games are just usually just like 3-2 shootout games. Like there's like, I don't know. Like sometimes there
aren't a lot of 7-5 shootouts coming to mind. Yeah. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, in a nutshell, like I like Minnesota 1. And St. Louis too, like depending if Buchnevich is back or it's still Kyrou there. Like it is kind of a big loss that the checking line is out for Minnesota, but like Freddie Gaudreau is a decent two-way center. He's going to have Marcus Foligno there. He's going to have Kevin Fiala. Like Kevin Fiala is a pretty good two-way winger as well. I think, they're still going to send them out against Ryan O'Reilly. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think you're going to see, Sturm or, I mean, maybe they send Sturm and Greenway. I don't see it though. Yeah,
I normally fade outdoor games just because like it's usually choppy and like pretty sloppy and low scoring. And like 20% Minnesota 1, it kind of worries me, especially if this is like the ice isn't great because they're heating it up for whatever. Like who galaxy brained that? Let's heat up the ice.
I mean, yeah. I assume they know what they're doing better than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I think like looking at the ownership projections from this game, I think I'm going to go to St. Louis 2 here. Kyrou, Thomas, Tarasenko coming in around 8%. If that sticks, like that's probably the line I'm going to look at. It's hard for me to get to a 20% line in an outdoor game. You just, you see random players have big games more, I think, in the outdoor games. I have no stats for that, but like Klim Kostin can get there tonight and I wouldn't be surprised. Like maybe I'd be a little bit surprised, but
yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah. St. Louis 2 for me is my favorite line from this game. I also don't mind Minnesota 2. Gaudreau, Foligno, Fiala. If you want to go to Minnesota 1, I think that's perfectly fine. I just worry about the outdoor game. I don't have any stats to back that up. I just tend to fade the outdoor games.
Yeah, I just do too. I recommended Kevin Fiala, I think, from this game, and I would one-off Kevin Fiala on DraftKings. I think he's all the way down to 4,400 on DK. Like, that's just an absurdly cheap price for him. Comes in as one of our better projected wingers down in that range. So, yeah, like a one-off Kevin Fiala, something like that. I'm not playing the Ryan O'Reilly line. I've said it pretty much all season long, man. Like he said it in an interview, and I've been saying it since he said it. Like he's just not been right offensively since returning from the COVID list. And whether you look at his points or his impacts or anything, it's just fallen off the table. So out on St. Louis 1, agree with you on St. Louis 2, but I'm just not stacking anything out of this game here. I think Fiala as a one-off is about as far as I would go. Maybe you have something on the blue line. Is there anybody on the blue line that sticks out to you? I mean, I think Alex Goligoski at 3,300, given that Spurgeon is out, is fine. You know, he can definitely run into 3 pucks and get an assist or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're in no man's land, I don't mind Krug or even Justin Falk, as painful as that makes me sound, but like if you're like 4,500 to 5,000, I don't mind them, but like I think I'd honestly look elsewhere.
Yep. No problems with that at all. Stay up to date with the latest NHL DFS news with our Awesemo NHL Twitter handle. It's a different Twitter handle than last season, so if you haven't switched over yet, make sure you're checking out Awesemo NHL on Twitter. And make sure you give our buddy News God a follow. If you follow other sports, this guy is an absolute legend at breaking news for DFS players. So News God, NEWZ GOD_DFS. Check out News God's Twitter. Very helpful for breaking news for other sports besides NHL. And give us a like and a subscribe. We have, about 10 minutes left. Give us a like and subscribe if you could. Help us look good for our bosses here on the first day of 2022. Click that bell to get alerts when we do go live. And thank you again to Yahoo Fantasy for being such a good sponsor. You were a great sponsor to us in 2021. Let's hope we can continue this wonderful sponsorship in 2022. All right, couple games left before the early slate locks. I guess we should give maybe an early slate hat trick pick. I'm going to give you a few seconds maybe to come up with a hat trick pick for an early slate one. My early slate hat trick pick, I'm going to go with Andrei Svechnikov. Who you got?
Because it is a new year and our performance reviews are coming up and I want to raise, it's going to be Roman Josi. I'm just joking about that. I'm joking about the first part, but honestly, Roman Josi is my hat trick pick. All
right, there you go. There are your two hat trick picks, Andrei Svechnikov, Roman Josi for the early slate. 2 games left for the late slate. Vancouver 3.0 implied goal total going into Seattle. Seattle has a 2.9 implied goal total. One thing that stuck out to me about looking at Seattle's game logs is they do match and they don't match lines. Like it seems like every game they try to match the Yanni Gourde line against the top line for the competition, and then it goes very poorly. And about halfway through the game, they get away from the matchup. So like I don't know what to think about this game here. But I do like that Seattle top line again. I wrote up Morgan Geekie, assuming he's back on the top line. I wrote up Morgan Geekie in our Power Plays article. I think the Seattle top line can do well here tonight. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I don't really like this game at all, but like I agree with you. I agree with you. The Seattle top, like I like Morgan Geekie. He shoots the puck. That's important for DFS. He is not Jake's boy, Alex Winberg. But yeah, McCann, Geekie, Eberle, who knows what matchup they're going to get. I don't think it really matters. Like normally Horvat Hoglander is pretty good, but they still have Jason Dickinson there, which, drags down that line. So there's no matchup that really concerns me on Vancouver. So I do like Seattle's top line. And then I do like, Chase on still there. It's like quite a scene. Patterson Garland, I like going back to there. I also like Horvat Hoglander. But I don't know if I'm really going to have too much Vancouver tonight. I get going there because, everyone likes picking on Seattle. I just wish there was like a full stackable line, but there isn't. So you can have some 2-man, some one-offs, but I don't think I'm going to full stack anything.
Yeah. The thing that stuck out with Vancouver to me is like Pedersen and Garland have been very uneven. It seems like their play is like really good for 2 or 3 games, then really bad for 2 or 3 games, then really good, like 45%. I think it's 45% shot share and like 55% expected goal share. Like they're giving up a ton defensively, but they are generating a little bit of quality. But I don't know. For me, with Chiasson on that top line, I'm just kind of out on Vancouver entirely in this game. Like I mentioned, I do like the Seattle top line. They should be fairly popular, somewhere between 10 to 15% here. I think that's just fine. There's nothing really interesting for me on the Vancouver side.
It's me.
I don't know if you wanted like 2-man Miller and Chase on or something like that. I guess that's fine because it's reasonably priced. But like, I'm just not super I think whatever you have to do, you have to attack the Seattle PK here tonight.
That's why Horvat one-off is probably my favorite option, I think.
Yeah, okay.
He always ends up getting minutes.
Yeah, he does. He'll get his 17 to 20 minutes or whatever. So Horvat one-off. I think Miller Chase on two-man makes some sense as well, but I'm just not super excited on the Vancouver side. For me, it'll be about that Seattle top line. I think the Seattle third line is fine as well. Johansson, Wenberg, Donskoy. I think Donskoy has kind of helped them out since he jumped there, and they are super cheap. I just don't know if you really need to save that much money here tonight on the late slate, unless, you're power play stacking Toronto or something like that. There's just no reason to really play them. So that's about it for me from the forwards. On the blue line, I mean, Tyler Myers will always project well for us. So will Adam Larson. Mark Giordano remains way too high priced. What do you think?
Carson Soucy. That's the guy for me. Power play 2, 2,600, shoots the puck. Love to see it. You want to go to Tyler Myers, it's fine. 4,100 is a little too expensive for me, especially with, OEL back and Quinn Hughes in the lineup, Luke Shen getting minutes, which is weird. But yeah, Carson Soucy for me.
Yeah, Luke Shen getting minutes is weird. I'm not seeing any late news from the early slate, so Godspeed to all the early slaters. You should be clear over the next few minutes. We do have a few minutes left here to get to our last game, so let's get to that. Philly, 3.3 implied goal total. They're going into Los Angeles. The Kings have a 2.7 implied goal total. I wrote about Victor Arvidsson in the Power Plays article this morning. It is night and day when he has Philip Deneau on his line. 60% shot share with him, 50% shot share without him. Like that, he goes from fine to elite with Philip Deneau. So Victor Arvidsson, one of my favorite one-offs. What do you think about stacking that line? What do you think about this entire game?
Yeah, I like the Kings top line. I like Deneau, Arvidsson. I wish Trevor Moore wasn't there. And a note that I want to save for a later slate, because I don't think you need the savings. Grunstrom, Turcotte, Kupari, they had a really, really good game last game. They're all min price right now. Hopefully Turcotte sticks in the NHL this season. You might see him get sent down after 9 games, so they don't burn a year. But yeah, that third line is a nugget for a later slate. I don't think you need the savings today. I see 25% on Kings 1. And they did, the Flyers did go to Giroux, Atkinson, Farabee, I think, towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Which leaves like not much else in the second, third lines that really scare me. So like if Kopitar is going to get that Giroux matchup, I really do like the Deneau Arvidsson 2-man. If you want to put in Trevor Moore, I don't think he'll hurt you. I don't know how much he'll help you though. So I think, just doing the 2-man of Deneau Arvidsson, getting a guy in the blue line, I think that's fine. Kings 1 is in play for sure. So Kings 1, a little bit of Kings 2, Kings 3 for a different slate. The iteration of Iafallo Kopitar Kempe has been pretty good defensively. So it kind of takes me out of Giroux, Atkinson, Farabee, and 1 to 3. If you want to get to them in some MME, I think that's fine. Morgan Frost, Lindblom, Konechny, maybe. That Turcotte line did play really well, but it's one game. It's a very small sample, so I don't mind getting to a little bit of them either.
I think it's that Philly third line that interests me the most on their side. It's just I don't want to go into that Kopitar matchup, especially with Doughty's back. I think that makes a big difference for them. Definitely don't want to go into the Deneau Arvidsson matchup. So, Lindblom, Frost, fairly cheap, a little bit over 5K on DraftKings to stack the two of them, both getting some secondary power play minutes. And the thing with Philly is like, it's not exactly a 50-50 power play split, but it's fairly close. Like they're not a Colorado that'll play 75% of their top PP units. So you'll get some decent power play minutes from Lindblom and Frost. So if you are doing something like a Toronto power play stack, Lindblom, Frost, 2-man makes a lot of sense. But for me, this game is all about the Kings second line. Love Deneau and Arvidsson here. Like you said, throw on more if you want to make a 3-man stack, but I think Deneau and Arvidsson is the 2-man to really focus on. If you want to play Kings 1, fully correlated top Kings line, I think that's perfectly fine as well. I'm just focusing more down on the second line. On the blue line for these teams, nobody really sticks out to me besides correlating. Anybody stick out to you?
Not really. I mean, you want to punt Sanheim, Ristolainen, and that's fine. But other than that, like, not super thrilled about anyone on either team, like Doughty correlating. Other than that, no.
Yep, I agree with correlating. All right. We got to get out of here. This does it for our New Year's Day show, our Live Before Lock. I'm going to ask you for your late slate hat trick pick and your late slate goalies. My late slate goalie is going to be Thatcher Demko, and my hat trick pick, I'm going off the board, Drake Batherson. Who you got?
I see. I actually like both goalies in the Canucks game. Like, I know Grubauer's had his issues, but he's 7,300 at home. And my hat trick pick is going to be Victor Arvidsson.
All right, there you go. Drake Batherson, Victor Arvidsson are your hat trick picks. We do like Thatcher Demko in net here tonight. Good luck on the early slate that just started. Good luck on the late slate in about 6 hours. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week at some point. Please just keep these games on the ice. Have a nice weekend, everybody.